There is currently something shifting within your energy that remains partially unseen, yet you can certainly sense its presence. It is subtle, yet it intensifies with each passing day, as if something is gradually taking form in the background. Only accept what resonates with you. A younger individual connected to you is becoming increasingly protective, and their feelings have evolved beyond mere emotion. They are slowly transforming into something significant, something that resembles a future with you. The cards revealed in this reading are the Page of Cups, the Emperor, and the Ten of Pentacles. Collectively, they depict a journey that begins with gentle and innocent emotions, develops into strong protection and authority, and ultimately transitions into long-term stability and life planning. This is not a fleeting attraction. It is a gradual process unfolding step by step, even if nothing has been explicitly articulated yet. This individual may not always convey their feelings directly, but their focus on you is unwavering. They are attuned to your energy, your habits, and even the minor details that others often overlook. Over time, this attentiveness has gradually fostered an emotional bond. It seems they feel a sense of responsibility towards you, aspiring to be a stable and reliable presence in your life. Their protective instincts manifest in subtle ways. They may not express much verbally, but they remain vigilant about your surroundings. If something feels amiss, they are aware of it. If someone is treating you poorly, they sense it deeply, even if they do not always vocalize their concerns. Simultaneously, their emotions are still evolving, which imbues their actions with authenticity and sincerity. What is developing here transcends the present moment. There is a profound sense of planning and foresight. It appears that someone is gradually envisioning a life that is stable, secure, and meaningfully shared with you. Even if the current situation feels ambiguous, this connection is unwavering. IT is developing quietly, gaining strength each day, and gradually revealing itself. Please accompany me in this reading as more of the message is disclosed. When the Page of Cups, the Emperor, and the Ten of Pentacles come together, the message becomes quite evident, yet also deeply emotional. It transcends mere feelings. It illustrates how emotions gradually evolve into responsibilities, and how those responsibilities slowly shape a future that someone is quietly envisioning. Only take what resonates with you. This connection begins gently, matures over time, and eventually starts to envision something enduring, even if nothing has been explicitly stated at the onset of this energy. The Page of Cups signifies the emotional initiation of this relationship. This is where everything feels pure, inquisitive, and somewhat uncertain. It represents a phase where youthful emotional energy begins to sense something genuine, yet does not fully comprehend it. There is attraction indeed, but it is subtle and not fully developed. It resembles a quiet emotional magnetism that continues to intensify in the background. This individual may not articulate their feelings clearly, but they contemplate you more than they reveal. They observe you. They acknowledge you. And they feel an inexplicable pull towards you. However, as this emotional energy amplifies, it does not remain gentle indefinitely. It begins to transition into something more defined, and that is when the Emperor energy starts to manifest. This marks the point where feelings evolve from mere emotions into responsibilities. This is where the energy becomes more serious, more protective, and more concentrated. The person connected to you may start to feel an obligation to care for you in some manner. Even if they do not vocalize it, the Emperor embodies control, stability, and protection. It represents someone who may not be overtly expressive, yet pays profound attention. They may not consistently articulate their emotions verbally, yet they express them through their actions, awareness, and presence. This type of energy prompts an individual to contemplate, even silently, how they can be a reliable presence in your life. They start to feel a sense of responsibility to be strong for you, stable for you, and someone you can rely upon. Even if they possess limited emotional maturity, there is an internal drive compelling them to take this connection more seriously. This progression leads to the Ten of Pentacles, a stage where the relationship evolves into a long-term commitment. It transcends mere emotional attachment, embodying future-oriented thinking and stability. This signifies the energy of constructing something enduring. When this card is drawn, it indicates that the feelings have deepened sufficiently to envision a shared life together, even if those thoughts remain private and unexpressed. The Ten of Pentacles represents the transformation of emotional connection into a life vision. It signifies the moment when an individual begins to contemplate commitment, security, and a shared future. In this relationship, it implies that this younger individual is not solely emotionally attached to you, but is also beginning to perceive you as part of their long-term life narrative. They may envision stability with you, a future alongside you, or a life characterized by security and meaningfulness together. Even if they do not articulate it directly, the thought is taking shape in their mind. When all three cards are considered together, the narrative becomes profoundly impactful. It commences with emotional innocence and curiosity, transitions into protection and responsibility, and ultimately matures into a long-term vision and stability. This connection is not one that develops rapidly. Rather, it unfolds gradually, step by step, without haste. This gradual evolution is what lends it such intensity, as even in the absence of explicit definitions, the underlying energy is already in a state of transformation. Additionally, there exists a significant emotional pattern in this scenario. This individual may not always convey their feelings with clarity, yet their actions, thoughts, and energy reflect a sense of consistency. They may observe more than they articulate, care more than they acknowledge, and feel more than they reveal. This reflects the emotional depth of the Page of Cups, the control and protection of the Emperor, and the long-term perspective of the Ten of Pentacles. At times, this can be perplexing for you. One moment may exhibit tenderness. The next may be characterized by silence, and yet another may display protective behavior. However, beneath all of this, the energy is not fragmented. It is, in fact, gradually and steadily constructing something. This behavior is not arbitrary. It represents emotional growth occurring in layers. The deeper significance of these cards indicates that disconnection does not equate to remaining superficial. It signifies a transition from curiosity to seriousness, and from seriousness to a vision for the future. Even if the individual is not entirely conscious of the extent of their feelings, their energy is already inclined towards stability and a long-term connection with you. Therefore, when all of these elements are combined, the message is straightforward yet impactful. What begins as gentle emotional interest is gradually transforming into something structured, protective, and profoundly future-oriented. There is growth present. There is intention taking shape. And there is a sense that this connection is not intended to be temporary. It is quietly evolving into something that has the potential to become stable, enduring, and meaningful over time, even if it is still in the process of unfolding at this moment. When the Ten of Pentacles emerges in this reading, the energy becomes exceptionally clear, grounded, and focused on long-term stability. This is no longer about fleeting emotions or temporary attraction. This is about constructing a life, establishing security, and contemplating future, family, and lasting connections. Only embrace what resonates with you. In this context, this card indicates that the connection you are experiencing is gradually progressing towards something that holds genuine potential to become stable and enduring. Even if it is still developing in the background at present, the Ten of Pentacles is regarded as one of the most powerful cards symbolizing commitment and future planning. It signifies a bond that is not only emotional but also practical and deeply entrenched. In your context, it indicates that the younger energy individual associated with you is not merely feeling protective or emotionally connected. They are beginning to envision a genuine future that includes you. This marks a transition from contemplating feelings about this person to considering what type of life you could create together. This card embodies the essence of stability, security, and long-term achievement. It illustrates someone who is starting to perceive you as a component of their future foundation. Although they may not express it verbally at this stage, there is an internal development of seriousness. They are beginning to contemplate commitment more profoundly, not solely in emotional terms, but also regarding real-life structure, responsibilities, and shared aspirations. In this relationship, the Ten of Pentacles also signifies an emotional investment that is maturing over time. This individual may already possess a strong attachment to you, but that attachment is now evolving into something more stable and grounded. It has transcended mere curiosity or emotional thrill. It is transforming into a quiet recognition that you are someone of significance in a long-term context. This card frequently conveys familial energy or the concept of constructing something that endures beyond the present moment. It may reflect considerations about stability, living arrangements, shared responsibilities, and even a future where life is collaboratively built in a meaningful and secure manner. In your reading, it implies that this person may already be envisioning what life would entail if you were a permanent fixture in it, even if those thoughts remain private and unexpressed. Additionally, there is a notable sense of emotional maturity represented in this card, even if the individual is still youthful in energy. It signifies growth. It indicates that emotions are evolving from fleeting waves to something more stable and reliable. Although they may still be figuring out how to articulate these feelings appropriately, the underlying intention of their energy is becoming increasingly grounded and serious. The Ten of Pentacles conveys a message of patience, emphasizing that such connections do not form overnight. They develop gradually through trust, consistency, and emotional comprehension. Therefore, even when circumstances seem ambiguous, this card implies that a deeper structure is being established beneath the surface. What may currently be invisible to you is the foundation being quietly constructed. In this context, this card serves as a significant indication that the bond developing between you and this younger energy individual is not intended to remain superficial. It is progressing towards a potential long-term, stable, and profoundly meaningful relationship if it continues on this trajectory. There exists an unspoken sense of future planning, along with the notion that this connection is gradually evolving into something capable of enduring the test of time. Thus, the Ten of Pentacles in this reading signifies that this situation transcends mere feelings. It pertains to the establishment of a life connection, emphasizing stability, protection, and a long-term vision. It illustrates that what is taking shape between you is slowly transforming into something tangible, grounded, and possessing the potential to endure well beyond the present moment, provided it continues to develop in this manner. When the Emperor emerges in this connection, the energy becomes immediately more robust, serious, and structured. This situation is no longer solely about emotions or curiosity. It revolves around control, protection, responsibility, and the aspiration to create something stable that genuinely lasts. Only embrace what resonates with you. In this scenario, the Emperor represents a younger energy individual who is gradually adopting a more mature perspective regarding you. Even if they have not fully arrived at that point yet, the Emperor is an individual who does not take emotional connections lightly. When this card appears, it signifies that the person linked to you is beginning to develop a sense of responsibility towards you. It transcends mere affection or gentle thoughts about you. It embodies the desire to be someone stable in your life, someone dependable, someone who can consistently protect and support you, even as they are still navigating their emotional landscape. Their intentions are evolving into something more serious. This energy frequently represents a person who quietly watches over you. They may not articulate everything directly, but they are cognizant of your circumstances, your challenges, and your emotional well-being. The Emperor's energy does not overlook what is significant. Rather, it observes, assesses, and gradually establishes a framework around it. In your relationship, this implies that the individual is not merely emotionally invested, but is also mentally strategizing their role in your life. Additionally, there is a pronounced protective aspect to this card. The Emperor dislikes disorder or emotional turmoil surrounding someone they care for. Thus, in this context, it reflects a person who feels a sense of guardianship over you, even if they do not always verbalize it. They may intervene quietly when something seems amiss or when they perceive that you are not receiving the treatment you deserve. Their concern is not always expressed in an emotional or gentle manner, but it is unwavering and resolute. Concurrently, the Emperor may also symbolize someone who finds it challenging to openly convey their emotions. Rather than displaying vulnerability, they might strive to remain composed, controlled, or even somewhat distant at times. This does not imply that they lack deep feelings. In fact, it often suggests the contrary. They experience profound emotions, yet they opt to process these feelings internally instead of expressing them outwardly. This can lead to confusion as their actions demonstrate care, while their words may remain restricted. In this relationship, the Emperor also alludes to long-term considerations. This is not merely a fleeting emotional phase for them. There exists a degree of planning involved, even if it is occurring quietly. They might be contemplating stability, security, and envisioning what a future with you could entail. It transcends mere attraction at this point. It marks the onset of structure, where emotions begin to evolve into responsibility and intention. Nevertheless, this energy is still in the process of development. As it is linked to a younger emotional presence, they have not yet fully attained their mature Emperor form. They are in the process of learning how to harmonize feelings with responsibility, transitioning from emotional confusion to emotional stability. This explains why you may observe instances of strong protection, followed by silence or emotional detachment. They are still in the process of self-discovery. The Emperor in this context ultimately signifies seriousness. It indicates that what is taking shape here is neither casual nor temporary. There exists a desire for control in the sense of wanting to construct something secure, structured, and genuine, even if it is not being explicitly articulated. The mindset is evolving towards long-term stability. Therefore, in this context, the Emperor conveys that this connection is progressing beyond mere feelings. It is gradually entering a realm where someone is beginning to regard you with greater seriousness, contemplating responsibility, protection, and a future that feels stable and grounded, even if it is still in the nascent stages of becoming tangible. When the Page of Cups emerges in a reading associated with this type of energy, It signifies the emergence of something gentle, something innocent, emotional, and still in the process of learning how to articulate itself. In this scenario, it reflects a younger emotional energy surrounding you, someone who does not yet fully grasp the depth of their feelings, yet they are already profoundly impacted by it. Only embrace what resonates with you. This is not indicative of a fully mature love at this stage, but rather a sentiment that is genuine, evolving, and gaining strength with each passing day. The Page of Cups signifies the moment when emotions begin to awaken within an individual's heart. It represents a phase where feelings are genuine yet not entirely managed. In your relationship, this card indicates a person who may appear shy, reserved, or even uncertain in their self-expression. However, internally, their emotions are vibrant and consistently focused on you. They might not always articulate their thoughts accurately, but their heart is already engaged in ways that are difficult for them to conceal. This energy often reflects someone who observes more than they communicate. They watch you intently, not in a domineering manner, but rather with curiosity and emotional investment. They pay attention to your smile, your moods, your shifts in energy, and even the minor details you might overlook. To them, everything about you is intriguing and significant. It is as if they are gradually learning about you emotionally, without haste or pressure. The Page of Cups also conveys a message of emotional purity. This individual may lack extensive experience in articulating profound feelings or managing intense emotional circumstances, yet this does not imply that their emotions are insignificant. In fact, the most genuine feelings often arise from those who are still in the process of understanding how to love. There exists a sincerity in their energy, even if it remains unexpressed. They experience something authentic, but they may find it challenging to communicate it clearly or directly. In this relationship, this card also illustrates a blend of hesitation and curiosity. A part of them desires to draw nearer, to engage more, to express more, yet another part remains uncertain about your potential reaction. Thus, rather than hurrying, they remain in observation mode. They may demonstrate their affection in subtle ways, such as quietly checking in on you, recalling details about you, or being present in your life without making it overt. Emotionally, the Page of Cups also signifies a message of new beginnings. It implies that this connection is still in its nascent emotional phase, even if the energy feels potent. It is not yet fully developed, but it is definitely not random either. Something has already started, and now it is slowly growing into something more meaningful. There is potential here, but it needs time, understanding, and emotional maturity to fully develop. This card also reflects vulnerability. The person connected to you may not show their emotional side easily to others, but when it comes to you, their energy becomes softer, more open, even if they are trying to hide it. They may feel things deeply, but they don't always know how to handle those feelings in a mature or confident way. So, they stay in this in-between space, where emotion exists, but expression is limited. Overall, the Page of Cups in this topic is a sign of emotional awakening. It shows someone who is beginning to feel something real for you, even if they cannot fully explain it yet. It is sweet, it is innocent, and it is growing slowly in the background. This is the start of emotional attachment, not the end result. And what makes it powerful is that even though it is young energy, it already carries the seed of something deeper that could grow into something long-lasting over time.